everyone, my name is Gabby and today I'm going to be bringing you my September wrap up. So September was a very busy month. I had a lot of tests and lots of quizzes, lots of schoolwork, and September always is a very busy month because it's the head of back to school season. I go back to school mid-August, but like by the time September comes around, I'm neck deep into schoolwork and several units into all of my classes. So it's a lot of crazy stuff going on, but it's been an absolutely amazing September. I've gotten a little bit of reading done. I have some fun announcements to talk about and some shows that I've been watching that I want to discuss with all of you. So I have lots to get into, so I'm going to get started with my wrap up by discussing all the books that I read in September. So my first read of the month is Clockwork Angel by Cassandra Clare. So I am at that point in my TMI TID series reread where I am alternating between the Infernal Devices and the second half of the Mortal Instruments series until I finish both series. I am absolutely loving my reread of the Infernal Devices. I'm enjoying this world so much more the second time around than I did the first time, because I remember when I picked up the Infernal Devices, I finished the Mortal Instruments series recently and I was reading from all these new characters, and yes, I loved Cassie and I love her books and I loved her world and I loved getting to read more from Cassandra Clare and more from the Shadow World, but it wasn't Clary and it wasn't Jace and it wasn't Alec and it wasn't all these characters that I had devoted myself to for 6 whole books and several hundreds of thousands of pages. So it was a little bit weird at first, and now that I know the story, I'm getting to go back into it already loving the characters and sort of knowing what's happening, so I get to anticipate a little bit more. And there's so many things that I forgot about with the Infernal Devices that it's like reading it for the first time almost, because as I'm starting to read it, I remember like, oh my gosh, that happened, and then I remember another thing that happened, and I just get so immersed in the world and in everything that's going on, and it's just so much fun. And I love Tessa. She's one of my favorite characters just because I can relate to her so much, and I know that was Cassie's intention when creating that character, is to be able to write someone that her readers can really connect to, and she definitely did a fantastic job at that. I am just so happy that I'm getting to reread these books. It's pretty much all that I've been doing for the past few months, and it's made my reading so much more enjoyable because maybe I'm not reading a whole bunch of new books, but I'm reading books that I really love and are really close to my heart, and that's something that means a lot to me. So I'm excited that I'm getting to dive back into this world, get to reread from the characters, and get to fall in love with this story all over again. So my next read of the month was Halfway Normal by Barbara D. So I got an arc of this book this summer while I was in New York City at the Strand, but this book came out in September, so you can get a finished copy for yourself if you're interested in reading it. This story is a middle grade novel, and normally I don't read middle grade, but the minute that I heard the synopsis, I was intrigued and I immediately wanted to pick it up. So this story follows our main character Nora, and when we meet her, she has just completed 2 years of leukemia treatment, and so now she's having to go back to junior high, and she sort of has to deal with the fact that she's missed out on a lot of things, and people now know about things that she's been through, so her friends treat her differently because of that, and she just feels a little bit weird being put back into this new normal situation after everything that she's been through because of the fact that she's been out of school for a while, ends up being a little bit more advanced in her math and science classes than she would be compared to everyone else that would be in a normal 7th grade math and science class. So she's moved into a math and science class for kids a year older than her, which is an 8th grade math and science class, and she ends up meeting a boy there named Griffin, and they end up connecting and having a lot of shared interests, but she doesn't tell him that she had leukemia. She hides the fact that she was the girl with cancer because she doesn't want that to affect how he sees her, because obviously she really likes him. And the whole story sort of goes with her having to learn how to navigate this new situation with school and how to navigate being a recovering cancer survivor at such a young age, and how that makes her different from a lot of other kids, and learning to sort of accept that, but also be able to sort of feel normal in her own sense. And she makes a lot of mistakes and takes a lot of risks in some of the decisions that she makes in wanting to be a normal kid, but realizing that she can't be. There's certain things that set her apart in terms of her health and how she has to take care of herself, and so it's her sort of learning to deal with all of that. And when something happens that prevents her from keeping the secret that she's wanted to hide, she has to deal with how she talks about this and how she confronts this issue, for her being able to speak about it in a way that she feels comfortable with. And the story itself is so important. I really haven't read a lot of stories stories that deal with cancer coming from such a young mind, because little kids are brutally honest. They'll tell you whatever comes straight to their mind, and they're not going to lie or play games with you. They're just going to be very just boldly honest, and this story definitely deals with that, and I feel like it is very simplistic, and it's something that a lot of younger kids will really relate to, because Nora definitely behaves very immaturely at a lot of points, but you see that she just wants to be a normal kid and that her intentions are all good, and you just get a lot out of the story because it is coming from such a raw perspective, and I absolutely loved it. And it was just such a fun contemporary story to read, and I'm really glad that I got to pick it up, because I would have not picked this book up on my own had I not seen it in the Strand and been interested in the material behind it. So I'm really glad that I got to pick this up, and I hope that you guys do too, because it's a very quick read and it's something you'll get a lot out of though. So I think it's worth a read, and I'm really glad that I got the opportunity to pick it up. So my third read of the month was They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera. So I'm not going to go into much detail with this book because I have a non-spoiler review of They Both Die at the End on Teen Reads. If you do not know, I've become a board member for Teen Reads. They are a website that has a teen board of about 50 teens from all across the United States that write reviews for Teen Reads and do blog posts and answer monthly questions. So we do a lot for that website, and when I found out that I was going to be on the board, I was incredibly excited. So the first book that I reviewed for Teen Reads was They Both Die at the End. This is a book that I've been anticipating for the longest time, and so to get to review it as my first book on Teen Reads was incredibly exciting. This is also the Diversity Readers Book Club pick of the month. Our live show is October 13th at 8 p.m. Eastern on my channel, so if you want to hear us discuss this amazing book in all of its detail, definitely make sure you go and check out that live show and you read the book along with us, because we're going to be talking all the spoilers and all the things, and I'm so excited to get to discuss this book more. So if you want to find out all of my thoughts, you can check out my review, you can wait for the live show, but you'll definitely be hearing more of my thoughts on this wonderful book, so that's why I'm going to keep it relatively brief, just because I have so many other things that I'm getting into. But just know that I love this book as much as I love Adam's other books. This one's definitely a favorite for me out of all of his past books, just because the writing style is amazing, the creation of all of these different places is brilliant, and it's just something where you read the book and you fall in love like you do every other Adam Silvera book. So this was no exception. I loved it, and I'm really excited to get to discuss it with all of you guys. So make sure you join us for the live show and you check out my review, and that'll be linked down below. So I hope you guys pick this book up and you enjoy it as much as I did, because it's phenomenal like all of Adam's books are. My next read of the month was City of Fallen Angels by Cassandra Clare, the fourth book in the Mortal Instruments series. So the bulk of my reading this month was just alternating between the Infernal Devices and the Mortal Instruments series and continuing on with my reread, and I have to say that I'm enjoying it. I just love being back in a world that I love so much. With City of Fallen Angels, it's definitely a very different vibe than the first half of the series. You just dealt with a whole bunch of major dark things going on in City of Glass. You have sort of a conclusion that comes from City of Glass, and now you have this continuation, and there's a lot of very dark things that end up coming into light with this book, and it was reading it that just made me appreciate this world so much more, because it just shows how brilliant Cassie is as a writer and how she connects all of these plot lines and manages to just tell these very interesting stories, and I just love her writing, and this book just really brought light to that, and I'm having just so much fun rereading this series because it's one of my absolute favorites. I've never reread it before, and so now that I'm taking a time to reread it, there's so many things that I'm noticing the second time around, and it's so great, and I've wanted to get back into Cassie's books, especially after watching Shadowhunters, and like that show has just corrupted a lot of my thoughts, and I need to go back to the original world that I know and love, so I've needed to reread these books. I'm very glad that I have, because it's been one of my favorite parts of these past few months, is getting to dive into a world that I love so much. And so my final read of the month was Clockwork Prince by Cassandra Clare. So I love this book so much more than I did the first time around. I said that with Clockwork Angel, but reading Clockwork Prince, there's so many crazy things that go down in this book that I just completely forgot about. The more that I got into it, the more just shook I was. And the thing about this book is that reading it the second time around, I fell in love with Jem so much more than I did the first time. Like, I pretty much was like, Jem, like I wasn't too into him the first time around, but now the second time around I was like, oh, Jem, and I think that's because I've gotten to know him a little bit more with the Dark Artifices and getting to read his full story and getting to see him a little bit more as a character. That has definitely helped my love for him, but there's just this point then when I get to Clockwork Prince and it ruins it. And you all know the scene that I'm probably talking about because it's one of those scenes where you like want to punch Jem in the face, but then you're like, it's not Jem's fault, and you just feel like so conflicted, and it's the most frustrating thing in the world because I actually feel like I felt what I was supposed to feel, and Cassie's just, oh my god, it hurts. It genuinely hurts. There's so many crazy things that go on in this book, and every single one hurts so much more than the previous, and I'm just so amazed by Cassie and her writing. She's just phenomenal at everything that she does. I'm so impressed by her and her writing style. I love diving back into this world. I'm speechless by this book and all of the wonder that is contained within it. So that concludes my reading section of the wrap-up. Now to talk about a quick announcement. So as I said before, I am a Teen Reads board member. So one of the things that I want to promote to you guys and put out there for you guys as a member is that Teen Reads is doing a 20th anniversary giveaway. And so now until November 1st at 12 p.m. Eastern, which is noon, you can enter for a chance to win 20 different books that Teen Reads is giving away. I will leave the link down below where you can enter this giveaway, and they have the list of all 20 books that you can win. So one grand prize winner will win one copy of each of the 20 books that are listed under the giveaway, and then 5 second prize winners will get copies of 4 select titles. So it's a really amazing giveaway. There are plenty of opportunities to win, and I just am really excited about this giveaway. The minute that I heard that Teen Reads was doing this, I thought that it was an absolutely fantastic way not only to promote themselves, but to be able to give away so many amazing books from throughout the past 20 years that Teen Reads has been on the board, because pretty much I believe each book is sort of like a head book from the past 20 years that Teen Reads has come into existence, which I think is really, really cool. So if that giveaway sounds interesting to you at all, I will leave the link down below. Definitely make sure you check it out if you want to win 20 of some amazing YA titles from the past 2 decades. I'm so excited to see who's gonna win this giveaway and to be able to give you guys a little bit of a heads up about it, because I definitely think it's an amazing giveaway and a really great opportunity. So go and check it out if you're interested in winning 20 books. I mean, who wouldn't want 20 more books? I would totally want 20 more books. You should enter that giveaway. It's amazing. It sounds great. So now to talk about some of these shows and movies and things that I've been watching this past month. The first is not so much a show, not so much a movie. It's Newsies. So this is a Broadway show, and I watched the 2016-2017 cast recording from the Pantages in LA. I found out about Newsies a little bit of a while ago. I've known about it pretty much since it's been on Broadway because I've heard about it through Disney and through ABC. So it's been in my peripheral for quite a long period of time. And I've just never gotten around to watching it or seeing it on stage just because I wasn't into Broadway. And now that I've gotten into Broadway, Newsies has piqued my attention a lot more than it had before. And I just never got an opportunity to see it. I wanted to see it this summer while it was in theaters, and I never did. And I felt really bitter about it. And then I found out that Newsies was going to be on Netflix, and I was immediately like, the minute that this is on Netflix, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to watch it, and I'm going to be amazed. So I knew nothing at all of what I was going into, and it was quite a transcendent experience. I am in love with this show, all of the actors, the songs, the choreography, the staging. There's just so much that I love about the show that I could spend hours discussing it, but I'm not going to do that. So what I would like to do is possibly do a full-length review where I talk about like all the performers and the choreography and all the numbers that I really love, and like get to really go into depth with this show and everything that I love about it. So if you are interested in that, give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment, something to let me know that you would like to watch that, because I need to discuss this show more. I've been listening to the cast recording non-stop. I've watched Newsies twice this month because I watched it the first time and I was like, oh my god, I love this. And then I was like, I need to watch it again. And then the second time that I watched it, I had been listening to the cast recording for a while, so I knew a lot of the lyrics, and it was so much more exciting the second time around because I got to like really get into it, whereas the first time I was more just watching it to sort of see what happens. And it was great. It was probably the highlight of my month because now I've just become obsessed and I get it now. I get the Newsies hype and I'm very glad to be jumping on board so late into the game, but I'm here now and I'm happy to have joined the fandom because Newsies is fantastic and it's just, there's so many wonderful things about it. It's just so angsty and it makes you want to just like put your fist into the air and stomp your feet and just like shout and just feel all of this like aggression and angst, but also feel the sense of like fighting back towards things that you don't agree with and this sense of rebellion and this urge to want to just make change, and it's the greatest thing in the world. I just love everything about Newsies. I could go on about it for hours, but it's a phenomenal show. It's on Netflix. Almost all of you can watch it. If you have a Netflix subscription, you should take like the 2 hours out of your day to watch it because you will fall in love like I did. It's amazing and it's one of my favorite things now. So I'm very glad that I made the decision to watch Newsies this month, not only once but twice, because it was the highlight of my month. It's a phenomenal show. So the next show that I watched this month is one that I've been watching for the past few months, but it wrapped up in September, and that is America's Got Talent. I've been watching the show since I was in 4th grade, and that's quite an extensive long period of time, and that's about like 7 years, which is insane. So I've pretty much grown up with this show, and every single season I feel like, I'm not gonna watch it again. There's only so much that this show can offer, and I watch it, and every single season I'm just amazed by the wicked amount of talent that is on this show and the wicked amount of talent that is in America. You just don't think that there's so many crazy people that are able to do so many of these amazing things, and you're able to grow with these artists throughout the show, and you're able to see them advance, and you're able to see them sort of find limelight, and it's so amazing because so many people have so many beautiful stories, and it's just such a great show. If you aren't familiar with America's Got Talent, it is a reality competition show. You have a whole bunch of acts from across America come to compete to win $1 million in a headlining show in Las Vegas. It's just such a fun show. I found so many people that I love through the show, people who are just extremely talented that I would not have found anywhere else. And I think that's the great thing about the show is that it's not just for singers, it's not just for dancers, it's for anybody who has a talent. And it's so much fun to get to see these acts grow throughout the season. I love watching it every single season. This was no exception. I am very happy about the winner of this season. I think that America made the right choice to pick someone who has a lot of talent, who's going to be able to grow and be able to do a lot of really exciting things. And from what we've been seeing from the past few years, children have been winning this show a lot more frequently than adults. So we're seeing children who have talent that are stealing America's hearts. And it's great because typically I would not have thought that children would ever win America's Got Talent, just because it's so weird to have a child go from one day just like having a family, being like a normal teenager, and then suddenly boom, having $1 million and being like a superstar is just really weird. But it's the greatest thing to see that a show like this is able to do that for people and able to change lives and able to put someone on the map. So it's a great show. I love watching it. It's just so much fun, and of course that was no exception this season, and I'm really glad that I got to continue watching it because it's just so much fun. The third show that I watched this month was season 3 of Fuller House. So this is the first half of the 3rd season, and I like flew through it in like 2 days. I love Full House. This is a show that I grew up with and was like one of the first legitimate television shows that I ever really watched that had like moral and that had purpose and had a continuing plot line, and it was like a full television show that was for not only kids but for adults, and it wasn't just something like a Dora or what else, like a Teletubby, something that just like really mindless, you know, it's something that had purpose. Because I've grown up with the show and it's been with me throughout my entire childhood, I was incredibly excited to see it come back to Netflix. The thing about this show that I think is so great, the reason why it works so well on Netflix, is because it would not do well on cable television. It wouldn't. People wouldn't watch it because it's incredibly cheesy. The dialogue at times is sketchy and the acting itself is not perfect, but it's a fun show and everyone watches it because of the nostalgia and the references and the fact that this is a show that so many people grew up with and loved that of course we're gonna want to see it back on television. So it works well on Netflix, and I just love watching the show because there is so much angst and so much drama, and there's so many things that you just get drawn in and want to keep watching each episode. Just because it's really short, each episode flies by really quickly and it's just a lot of fun. I love Full House, and of course Fuller House will never live up to what Full House is, but it's one of those shows that I feel like was really successful in making a comeback, because not only do you have the focus on DJ and Stephanie and Kimmy now, but you get to see guest appearances from Danny Tanner and Jesse and Joey and Becky and all those other characters that we really love. So they're still there. It doesn't feel like we've alienated anyone unless we've needed to. Michelle. But I'm just really enjoying watching this third season. It definitely ended on quite a surprising note, and I'm really excited to get to see the second half of this third season, because there's gonna be a lot of crazy things going on. But it's such a fun show. And growing up with Full House, of course I had to watch Fuller House. It was the reason why I got a Netflix subscription. So I've been watching each season as it's been airing, and I've just been falling in love with it more and more, because this is a show that is so close to my heart. So the final show slash movie that I watched this month is The Last 5 Years. So this is Jeremy Jordan and Anna Kendrick's movie, and it tells the story of the relationship of this couple over the past 5 years, all in a musical format. So I loved this movie. It was fantastic. I loved the way that the story was told, and the fact that we know the end result and we sort of go back to the beginning and how did we get here. We follow Jeremy Jordan's character, who is an author, and Anna Kendrick's character, who is an aspiring actress, and you see the two of them as they start to sort of try to work into their fields and develop a relationship, some of the gives and takes and struggles in their relationship. And it's just such a beautiful story, and Anna Kendrick and Jeremy Jordan are both phenomenal performers, and a lot of the reason why I watch this is because it's been on my radar for a while, but now that I fall in love with Newsies, I was like, okay, I need to watch this now because I need more Jeremy Jordan, and I loved it. I loved Jeremy Jordan. Oh my god, even though his character is not perfect at all, is Jeremy Jordan. Oh my god. So I loved it, and every single thing about it. It was great. It's just, I had so much fun with all the shows that I watched this month. They're all just shows that made me so genuinely happy, and I needed something like that, and this movie was no exception. I just loved it. I loved all of the numbers. I really hadn't listened to any of the songs before, really didn't know what the story was about, and I just got to watch it and fall in love with it. I am so glad that this movie is on Netflix. You should go and watch it if you're a musical theater person, because you will love it. There is this one really great number. I have no idea what it's called, but it takes place around Christmas time, and Jeremy Jordan is like telling this story through song, and he's decorating Anna Kendrick up like a present or like a Christmas tree, and it's just hilarious, and I love it, and it's so much fun, and that's definitely one of my favorite numbers in the movie. If you've seen the movie and you know what number I'm talking about and want to tell me the title of it, please do. I'm just in love with this movie. It's great. There's so many funny moments, and there's so many just heartbreaking moments as well, and it just really encapsulates everything about being in a relationship, and it's just great. I just fell in love with this movie. It was phenomenal. So that's about it for my September wrap up. It's been a pretty hectic month, but I got to watch some great shows, read some really great books. There's a fun giveaway for you guys to go and check out, so everybody wins this month. So I think that about wraps it up. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to comment your favorite read of the month, a show you've been watching that you really liked, let me know. That being said, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time with a new video. Goodbye!
Wildflowers don't care where they go.